What's up, everybody? This is Brenton Brown from Forza Tuning and Performance. And what I have next to me are two brand new 2020 Dodge Charger Hellcat wide bodies. Okay, so these are actually the first two wide body Chargers that have been in the shop. So the one to my left is our Stage 1 package. It's also been lowered, okay, so it's got a more aggressive stance. The one to my right is actually been brought to us by Dream Giveaway. So this is one of their sweepstakes cars. Okay, so you can actually enter for a chance to win this. The reason it's here is because we're going to be doing one of our Stage 4R packages on it, and we're going to shoot footage. We're going to show you the entire process. We'll have multiple videos and stuff on this. We're going to go over every vendor and every part that we put on the car and tell you why we use each thing. So there's going to be a lot of really good content on this car. So they've already done some cosmetic stuff. This car really looks sharp. You can tell all the accents they've got on it. Boomer can elaborate on the different things that he's put on it before it came here. They just dropped this off you the other day. As far as first impressions, me personally, I absolutely love the wide body Charger compared to the regular one. You can still get a regular, I don't know if you call it standard body or narrow body or whatever, in the lower Charger models. So once you get to the Scat Pack, you have the option of either getting the regular body or the wide body. Now, when it comes to the Hellcat, it only comes in wide body, which honestly I think is a really beneficial thing because it allows you to run a wider tire in the back. Most of you all know the Hellcat has a ton of power, even stock, so getting the power to the ground effectively can always be a challenging thing for the car. So with this new wide body stance, I think it looks much more aggressive. You can run a wider tire in the back. I just think it looks overall a lot better, especially like this one was lowered. Actually, this one came in and the customer already had it lowered. This one is not, it's at stock ride height. So as soon as we saw the difference between the two, my first suggestion to Dream Giveaway was, hey, why don't we go ahead and lower this car while it's here? It's getting a package. I showed them the difference and they were like, absolutely, the lowered car looks phenomenal. So that's gonna be one of the things that we do to it. So we'll go over that later on. So I'm just gonna kind of like briefly do a walk around. For the most part, aside from the wide body, not a whole lot has changed. I'm gonna go ahead and pop the hood and let's just take a look underneath here. So before I do that, as far as the headlight goes, there's still no real like hole in the headlight for a functional ram air, but it does, if you look through the grille here, there is a pretty large opening that goes directly to where the airbox is. So it's not exactly like the Challenger, but it is still getting a good amount of air coming from this grille. One thing I wasn't sure about on the 2020, I saw the renderings and I saw the pictures, but I didn't know if they were going to have some sort of a functional ram air hood like they do with all the Challengers now. So if you get a Challenger, Hellcat, Red Eye, the Demon, all those now have functional ram air hoods starting in 2018. So the Demon obviously started that trend in 2018 with a really wide ram air hood. And then the Hellcat and the Red Eye kind of followed suit with kind of the twin snorkel design. But once it gets inside the car, it's all the same pretty much airbox. They did not do this on the Charger. And I think it's basically just because of space constraints. You know, when you look at the body of the car and where the engine placement is relative to the front of the car, the Challenger, you have a lot more room in the front. So you got some more real estate to work around. Where the Charger, you don't have a whole lot of space between the front of the engine and the front of the bumper. So you do have some space limitations. So as far as the intake air design, it basically stayed unchanged from the previous Charger Hellcats. Like I said, you got an air inlet right here that provides a lot of air. This has got a leg maker cold air intake. We get asked a lot of questions on cold air intakes. There are some of the applications where I absolutely think that they're beneficial. The Trackhawk being one for sure. Charger, same type of deal. The stock air intake is not real efficient on the Charger or the Trackhawk. So you can put a leg maker on there and you're gonna pick up legitimate 20 horsepower with no tune change at all. Okay, we've tested them, they work. The carbon fiber material, the weave looks really good. Unlike a metal tube, it doesn't, collect heat and stay hot like metal does. You can run this in a hot engine compartment, touch it, and it's barely warm to the touch, which is beneficial. And his air intake design with this carbon fiber really does a good job at airflow velocity and funneling the air into the throttle body. So I'm a huge fan of these. This is actually the only one that we ever recommend or use. On the Challengers with the ram air, we leave the stock system on there simply because it works so well at getting cold air to the engine, I just kind of go with it. Now, I will let you all know that Chris, who's the owner of Lake Maker, he is currently working on a carbon fiber tube design that's going to allow better airflow from the stock ram air box to the throttle body. And for any of y'all that are wanting to go with a bigger aftermarket throttle body, it's going to be a very easy transition. The video with the Destroyer Gray Red Eye, you can see where we had to fab up a 5-inch pipe to get the Kong throttle body to work with the stock air box and it be functional. When he comes out with that carbon fiber, that's going to make that process much easier, especially for the guys that can't fab something up on their own or don't want to go through the time and expense of doing it. So be looking out for that. That's coming soon. I just talked to him about that today, actually. As far as the engine bay, it basically looks exactly like the older Charger Hellcats. You know, it looks unchanged for the most part. You've got this evap system, this solenoid over here that's part of the new evap system. That's on all the new Hellcats, so that's just, you know, it's different from the older Chargers, but the same as the Challengers and everything else. So aside from the evap thing, it really looks unchanged. So we did a stage 1 package on it. So that consists of brisk racing spark plugs, a 160-degree thermostat. HP Tuners sent us out a smart access cable, which you need in all the 2018 and up Dodge platforms to be able to read and write to the computer. And then we also obviously had HP Tuners unlock the PCM, and it's tuned with HP Tuners software. I looked around the car a little bit already, and you know, aside from the wide body stance, so the flares, the wheels, and so on and so forth, I don't really see any real differences. I'm sure that handling characteristics are going to be a little bit better. You just got a wider track. So I'm looking forward to driving this. I'm assuming that it's probably going to have better handling because you got a wider wheelbase now. I'm sure traction is going to be much better. So why don't we go ahead into the inside? I haven't really been punched around in here. The interior looks very, very similar to the older Charger Hellcats. I'm just going to start it up, and I'm going to roll the window up so the sound doesn't drown out the mic. And we're going to see what we have on the SRT pages here. Not really a lot seems to have changed. Okay, so what I do want to do is go into these SRT pages and see we've got our launch button. So let me see what all's in here. SRT dashboard. So I don't know if any of y'all have seen a lot of this stuff, but it's got a lot of cool stuff. So we do have, let's see, the race cool down mode, okay, which is really cool. You know, what that'll do is it basically shows you your ambient air temperature, your target temperature, and what your intercooler temperature is. So the Hellcats have this, the Red Eye have this. So basically this is just monitoring intercooler temperature is what that stands for. So it'll correlate to intake air temperatures. See, we've got launch control, which is pretty cool feature. I'm sure you all are aware of this. This looks very similar to the other Hellcats. Activate it, you can set whatever RPM you want. And what this will do is it'll hold the vehicle at whatever RPM you want with the gas pedal all the way depressed, and then let you leave the line. So it holds the car for you. You're not trying to watch the tach and feather your foot pedal to a specific RPM. We've got the display does look a little bit different as far as the other cars. So we've got track, sport, custom. Okay, so the layout of this is different than the Challengers that I'm used to seeing. You actually have more information on this one thing. Now, I don't know, this is the first one I've sat in, so I don't know if he's configured it this way and they give you the option to configure it, or if this is just the way it is. Because normally when you put it in track and sport, you're going to have like a picture of a car set up kind of like this custom. You get more of this. So it looks like he probably just had that set up like this. You know, all of you all know, you know, basically this is the same. Any of y'all Hellcat guys, you already know all this. Changes however you want to. So, you know, if you don't know, real quick, I'll just do a quick explanation. Sport mode are predetermined. So you have basically yellow, orange, and red. Yellow designates like street, orange designates sport, and then red designates like track. You know, so if the engine is red, that's the highest power. Transmission is orange, you know, that's going to be more aggressive than the street calibration, but not as rough as track. You can see you can control the brakes, the suspension, the whole 9 yards. So that's about it as far as the inside. So we'll go around to the back while we're here. I'll look in the trunk. I'm sure that's not going to be anything crazy, but other than that, it pretty much looks the same. Looks like these are LEDs, but I'm gonna guess that the owners probably put those in here. Yeah, this all looks very, very similar, you know, so for the most part, really doesn't look like they changed a whole lot of stuff. You know, this pretty much basically just the wide body for the most part. I don't really see anything glaring differences. Like I said, I do think the overall look of the car is much better. We can take a look at this one. You're gonna get a lot of coverage on this one. Like I said, I don't even know all the stuff that they have done on this. And there you go, there's their website. That's where you would go to enter for a chance to win the sweepstakes car. And they give a few things about them, and I'm gonna let Boomer go into detail because obviously he represents their company, but they do donate a lot of the money to charities. And I know that when you win something, like the lottery or something like that, or you win a sweepstakes car, a lot of times you're still responsible for paying the taxes on the car that you win, okay? I know one thing that they do that is different than some of the other ones. They actually pay the taxes on top of that. So if you win the car, they're going to pay the taxes on the car. So you're actually going to get the car with no expense paid, okay? So that's pretty cool. They've got this graphics on the side. I really like the theme of the car. I really like the black with the orange accents. I love the orange calipers that they've got on here. I'll have to ask Boomer. You know, I know that the car has orange stitching in the interior, which was not stock, and I know it is not an option stock. So they have done this. They do a really good job of taking the time to do a lot of subtle cosmetic appearances that really set their cars off and make them look really good. The orange calipers, I'm not sure, honestly, if you can buy them that way or if they had those custom powder coated. We'll find out when we start building the car next week. As far as the inside of this, now we have the PCM out of this car, so the car doesn't run, the battery's disconnected, but since it's here, we just figure we show it to you. I kind of like the orange stitching, honestly. I think it's a nice touch. Honestly, I think it'd be pretty cool if Dodge would offer that, you know, as like a interior option. And underneath the hood, so I have not even looked underneath the hood. Obviously, they've got the splitter on here from APR. They've custom done the rods in orange. Obviously, the vinyl wrap and everything. They had this custom billet deal made. I remember Boomer talking about it. They had this made from a custom place out there in California somewhere, and they went back and forth on the color. He ended up having to sand it back down and have the Hellcat repainted to match the exact orange. So he's got a lot of time and a lot of subtle little details here. And I like the fact that, you know, obviously since this is the Hellcat engine, it has the orange block and the orange valve covers, where the Red Eye has the black valve covers and the Demon has the red stuff. So I think underneath the hood, he's got a few just subtle orange accents like this, which I think really play off the valve covers and look really good. So I think what's been done is really tasteful. As you can see, same as the other one over there. So this pretty much wraps up the 2020 Charger Hellcat Widebody first impression. So what I want to do now is I want to take this out on the road and just see how it drives. I'm going to assume it's kind of like I've driven a lot of Charger Hellcats, so I'm sure it's going to be similar. The main thing that I anticipate is traction being much less of an issue as far as getting good traction. So this car has the street tires on it, and it's just a stage 1, so it's about 50 to 60 horsepower overstock. So let's get out on the road, see how it does. We are in this 2020 Charger Hellcat Widebody with stage 1 package, so we're going to drive this. This actually isn't the first time I've already tuned this car. Actually, we were going to just do a stage 1, and then the customer decided to just go ahead and do stage 2 while I was here, which that ends up happening quite often. I'm really expecting this to drive pretty much exactly like the previous models. Really the biggest advantage I see of the wide body is obviously going to be improved traction from wider rear tires. So the stage 1 it's roughly 50 to 60 horsepower over stock. This probably isn't going to be the best example of a car to test improved traction with. The car for Dream Giveaway is going to be a stage 4R car, so that will be the first stage 4R wide body Charger that we do. So that one's going to actually be probably the one that's really going to be able to tell a difference as far as traction wise. We are driving with this huge camera right in your face. Can't see shit. So you can get a regular Hellcat in a manual or an automatic, and you can get it in a regular or a wide body. A red eye you can get only as an automatic, but you can get it as a regular or a wide body. So even though the red eye has significantly more power than a Hellcat, the wide body regular Hellcat is actually faster than a regular narrow body red eye. So that just goes to show you how much the wider rear tires and the extra traction come into play with as far as, you know, putting the power to the ground. So I'm going to expect that this is going to be much improved. We'll just see how it does. Alright, so it spins through 60. But, you know, obviously if we had a set of drag radial tires on here, you know, that would be significantly less. Obviously, without even driving it, we know that this is going to be far superior traction-wise to the regular one, just based off the stats, off just the regular Challenger red eye and wide body we just talked about. Overall, I like it. Drives really good. So this is about it. We're going to go back to the shop. Overall, I think Dodge did a really good job with the Charger. I'm really glad that they decided to do the wide body version. I think aesthetically, it looks much more aggressive to me. I mean, it's, you know, now I don't even really like the look of the regular body Hellcat compared to the wide body. When I first saw them, I was kind of like, yeah, kind of fender flare-ish deal, but it's actually grown on me a lot, and it makes it much more usable as far as, because the traction was the biggest issue with the Hellcat. So now you can put a wider tire and it's, you know, up underneath the car, looks better. You don't want tires sticking out past the quarter panel like some redneck 70s car, you know. Y'all don't have a camera in the front, but if you could, there's a stupid ass truck there. It's like way jacked up with some little bitty tires on there. Looks like that truck skipped leg day like for 6 months straight. Okay guys, so that wraps up this test drive. First impression, 2020 Charger Hellcat wide body. I like it. We're actually getting ready to go inside and start building a dream giveaway stage 4R sweepstakes car. So that about wraps it up. So I got to go inside and get to work. So I'll see you guys on the next video.